to kill as many intellectuals as possible.
On December the 16th, 1971, the Pakistanis surrendered to the Indian Army, and the nation of Bangladesh was born. Freed from a Pakistani jail, Sheikh Mujib returned to Dhaka in triumph on January the 10th, 1972. That same day, he pledged that war criminals and collaborators would be brought to trial.
I would like to assure our people that those who are responsible for committing atrocities and for the collaboration will not go unpunished. I will therefore appeal to all concerned to remain patient while the due process of law takes its course.
Some people took the law into their own hands. In the immediate aftermath of the war, there were revenge killings of collaborators. Many were taken into protective custody, but even then, they weren't always safe. Shortly after liberation, Atikur Rahman intervened when a member of the Jamaat, Khalek Majumdar, was being tortured.
I asked the freedom fighters who were there not to torture him anymore, but to hand him over to police. And then he disclosed that he was not involved in killing, but Chaudhry Moinuddin was the operation in charge of Al-Badr in Dhaka city.
Although Majumdar was found guilty of abducting a senior journalist, his conviction was later overturned on appeal. But despite the circumstances of his detention, Atikur Rahman remains convinced that the evidence Majumdar gave about Moinuddin is reliable.
He always claimed that Chaudhry Moinuddin was the operation in charge of Al-Badr in Dhaka city. Then I asked him whether he can give a written statement. He agreed. He said, yes, why not? I'm not afraid. I can give it because I know it very well.
Named as operation in charge of the Al-Badr, Moinuddin became a key target for the new government. Professor Abedin was ordered by Sheikh Mujib's nephew to go to Dhaka and find him.
We went to different parts of Dhaka city to carry out our mission. Chaudhry Moinuddin could not be found, and we discovered either the Pakistan army or the collaborators had helped him to escape from Bangladesh.
By 1973, Moinuddin was living in Britain. He made no attempt to hide his identity, and despite his past, the Home Office granted him British citizenship. He declined to be interviewed, but gave dispatches a written statement.
I was never a member of the Al-Badr or involved otherwise in its activities. All the accusations being made against me are therefore utterly false and malicious, and either politically motivated or instigated otherwise.
Moinuddin insists that he has never been charged with any offense. He claims that all war crimes committed in Bangladesh were thoroughly investigated by the authorities. But this is not true. Although Sheikh Mujib's government banned the Jamaat, it only prosecuted some war criminals before granting an amnesty to political collaborators. Following his assassination in 1975, the country was in effect under military rule for 15 years. The pursuit of war criminals was suppressed as an issue. In 1977, the Jamaat was legalized. It denies its role in war crimes, and today is a growing force in Bangladesh politics, with 20 MPs, some of whom are themselves alleged to be war criminals.
No justice has taken place. It's a tragedy of our times that the main political force behind that has come back and legitimized itself in the mainstream politics of this country. I don't think that's their success. I think that's our national failure.
Because of the political situation in Bangladesh, it's unlikely that war criminals will be prosecuted there. But the families of the victims still want the murderers of their loved ones brought to justice.
I can only demand their punishment since I was hurt. My husband, well, I lost him. I want punishment. This I want from my heart.
My son was 9 months old then. My daughter was 3.5. I had to bring them up alone. They have a great anger, an accusation in their mind, a sense of injustice. Why is there no trial? Can no one try this matter?
The British government can. Under the 1957 Geneva Conventions Act, it could bring Bangladeshi war criminals resident in Britain to trial.
It seems to me that the whole purpose of passing the Act of 1957, the Geneva Conventions Act, was precisely so that people against whom allegations of this kind are made, who are found to be in this country, can be investigated. If that doesn't happen, then it seems to me it would be a waste of time passing the Act.
There is such a law in Britain which allows the government to arrest, prosecute and try someone involved in war crimes. I would like the British government to go ahead with that procedure.
War criminals, people who commit these grave crimes and crimes against humanity, no matter where they are, should be prosecuted. And I believe, in fact, now there is British legislation recognizing this obligation to proceed against such criminals wherever they may be found. And I hope that they would discharge this obligation.
In Scotland Yard, there's a special unit investigating alleged Nazi war criminals living in Britain. Similar investigations could be mounted against Lutfur Rahman, Chaudhry Moinuddin and Abu Saeed.
I would like to see the evidence gathered together, the investigation completed, and the results put before the prosecuting authorities so that they can decide whether there is sufficient evidence in each particular case. There are some kinds of offences which are so horrifying that anywhere in the world, and whoever commits them, we can't wash our hands of them and pretend it doesn't concern us.
Dispatches has passed the details of this investigation to the Attorney General's Office, the All-Party Committee on War Crimes, the Home Office, and Scotland Yard's War Crimes Unit.